Welcome to Fox 55's Fastlane.
Hello everyone, we're so glad you could join us on this edition of Fastlane, your Sunday morning home for racing in north central Wisconsin. I'm Bryon Graff. As always, Jana Wimmer and former Sprint Cup driver Scott Wimmer will share their insights and tech tips, and Curt Keene will be along shortly with his Keene Observations. And our special driver guest this week is a Wausau native who's won many times throughout our state. One of the big events on the calendar is the Larry Detjens Memorial Weekend at State Park Speedway. It spans 2 nights, and we featured the Friday races in last week's Fastlane. So here's a recap of the Saturday features. Dalton Zier in the 119 car jumping out to the early lead in the super late model Detjens Memorial 125. After the lap 75 competition caution, the yellow flag would come out again. Zier getting chased by Johnny Sauter, the NASCAR veteran, making his first appearance at State Park. Then lap 110 sees contact between Tim Sauter and Zier, sending Zier into the spin cycle. Those 2 cars were sent to the back of the pack, leaving Johnny Sauter in the lead. Zier working his way back through the field. 6 laps to go. Reagan May in the 33 gets loose and collects Jeff Storm in the 25, bringing out another caution. Back to racing. Tim Sauter goes around turn 4, and he collects 4 other cars, including Mark Mackesy, who would go off on the hook. Johnny Sauter running tight to the inside, takes the checkered flag, and immediately goes into a burnout. It almost takes out the track official. Look out. Zier is second. Jeremy Lepak finishes third.
But to win a race when your car's probably not the best car, and I was really struggling out there tonight, loose in the corner, loose off the corner, and just tried to hit my marks those last 14, 15 laps, whatever it was, and a couple of late race restarts to add some drama to it, so it's just fun.
Budweiser Fabiano Brothers Limited late model points leader Justin Mondyke had trouble with his car and didn't run the feature. Cole Anderson had the fast time and works his way from the back to the front and picks up the feature win. Dave Edwards was second, Jeff Nowak third. Mondyke still with a 95-point lead.
Last night we wrecked the car a little bit, and then we got it fixed today and made some adjustments through practice and got it pretty fast and held on to the win.
Nick Grish was out to an early lead in the Krieger Insurance Pure Stock division. Then Brandon Knobloch picks up the pace, making his move on the final lap on Grish's bumper, side by side to the finish with Grish by a nose at the line. What a finish! Dave Lashua was third.
You just start mirror driving and stuff like that. You see the guy coming, and man, you're off your zone. You know, you lose your rhythm, and I seen him coming, but man, we got it at the end. It was a close one, but that was amazing.
Adam Krakowski going for the weekend sweep after winning the Snap-on Mini Mods race on Friday. Phil Maloff and Adam Eckes side by side in the early going until Krakowski joins the mix. He takes the lead with a handful of laps left and cruises into victory lane. Eckes runner-up. Meanwhile, Maloff's third-place finish pushes him back to the top of the season standings. The Motor Service and Supply Mini Stock saw Dylan Mackesy setting the pace, but Greg Blount has it in his sights. Dave Meyer in the thick of it as well until a spin sends him to the back. Blount picks up the win ahead of Mackesy and Jerry Brickner, who can tell you all about how smoking is bad for your engine. Still, Brickner has a 28-point lead in the standings. Levon Vandergeest set fast time both nights for the professional drywall Bandoleros, but Rock Christensen captures the ultimate prize both nights, making it a sweep of the Friday-Saturday features. Luke Fenhouse was second with enough points over the weekend to move in front of the points race. The Detjens weekend is about more than just racing. It's about remembering the man who lost his life 34 years ago doing the thing he loved. Throughout the tight-knit racing community, Larry Detjens touched the lives of those around him. So on the weekend of his memorial, those who knew him personally and those who soak in the stories share in those memories.
Larry Detjens was basically, he was an icon. I mean, he's what every driver should try to strive after. I mean, the guy was a class act in the car, he was a class act out of the car.
Very nice guy, very clean racer. All around, could do just about anything. He was did rodeos, water skied, skied on downhill skiing. He was a racer. He was just an all-around guy.
The biggest thing as a kid growing up watching him, I just remember how cool his cars looked. He was very smooth. He was calculated. So to race in honor of him is pretty cool.
He meant a lot to the sport. For me, it was a lot for the family. My wife and father-in-law Lester used to share cars with Larry, so there's a real connection there.
I mean, with a guy with his personality and caliber, it just has to live on. My son started racing in 1998, and we've had Larry's number on his car since that time. And I asked Margot from that day one, I said, can we run the number 25? And we've been doing that.
Curt Keene joins us now for your weekly dose of Keene Observations. And looking at that last piece on Larry Detjens, Curt, Dave Gwitt talking about Margot, that's Larry's daughter, and what a terrific weekend, I think, for the stories that are being told and shared with everyone who's out at the track.
You know, it was a great weekend, exhausting, you know, to say the least, but just to see a lot of folks come for that event. And we even got people that come from Canada to come and just celebrate Larry Detjens, and, you know, making it a 2-day event has just been, you know, a wonderful time.
It certainly was a lot of fun. There was a lot of racing over those 2 days. The 125 lap super late model feature. Johnny Sauter made his first ever visit to State Park Speedway. Now his brother has been there many, many times. He's won there several times, Tim Sauter. Talk about the ending of this one, the contact rule, and explain that a little bit and how Johnny got into the lead at the end.
Yeah, there was, I think, maybe the last 25 laps to go. Dalton Zier, who another guy that doesn't race there, was in the lead in turn number 4. He kind of got into chopped down in the lane, and Tim just touched Dalton. Dalton spins around. A lot of tracks have gentleman's agreement where if a guy says, "Hey, my bad," you know, but we don't go by that. So, you know, if a car takes out another car, unfortunately, you have to start at the end of the longest line, where no one's, you know, if you're a lap down, you go ahead of those cars. But this is a contact rule, and it seemed like Dalton Zier knew that he knew the rule, and he didn't complain because he ended up coming back second. Tim said, "Hey, I just got a little bit of them," and, you know, that's racing, and short track racing's different than NASCAR. NASCAR, you could take out everyone and still keep your spot unless they call you to the trailer. But, you know, unfortunate for Tim because he had a really good car. I think he would have had a good chance, and Johnny got a gift. But, you know, there was some other restarts where people could have got him, and, you know, he ran a line that I haven't seen around State Park Speedway, and you know, he's obviously a NASCAR driver for a reason.
It was sort of a last-minute deal for him to come up, and then he worked on the car with his crew all night, went out there, won the race. He did a burnout at the end. He almost took out the flag guy. I mean, it seemed like it was sort of the culmination of a lot of things there.
And Johnny, last year over at Takana, he did the same thing, and he hit the wall and wrecked his race car. You know, when you win races and big races, Johnny was a guy that respected a lot of the old school racers, and he's got the old school mentality. He was just excited, but he forgot the other guys were still racing. He just kind of threw his car. There was cars out there, but you know, it was interesting as well.
And his father Jim, who had passed away recently, raced against Larry Detjens, so he had that connection there too.
Yeah, and you know, they grew up at the racetrack, and as kids, you know, they heard stories about Larry Detjens and, you know, Mike Miller and all the pioneers of racing, and, you know, he wanted to win that race, and anytime Johnny Sauter goes, it's checkers or wreckers, and he ended up getting the checkered flag.
Last week's show, we talked about Adam Krakowski and how good he's been, and he swept the 2 races in the Snap-on Mini Mods.
Yeah, that car is really loud, but by the way, my ear's still feeling it. But Adam is a old school guy, just like his dad, Joe Krakowski, knows how to race, and a very clean racer, respects racing, and he's been fast everywhere he's gone, and he's done a nice job. And to win 2 of those, he said this was the best weekend he ever had in racing.
Now, because of the magic of editing that we can do in television, we're doing this prior to the Dick Trickle race at Marshfield, but that's always a big event on the calendar too.
Yeah, another great event for the fans to come out. Thursday night special this year, just where the schedule falls, and having the race on Thursday night be different going over to Marshfield on Thursday. I thought Friday was weird, but you know, they're going to run 70-lap feature. That's how old Dick was when he passed away, and a lot of great deals and specials. So it should be a great event as well, and it's always fun to be at another racetrack.
I think going into this week, and we had put something on Facebook talking about all the thanks that we want to give out to people for being a part of this show, and we went back to the beginning 2 months ago. Mark Mackesy was our first guest, and Jana and I knew that we wanted Curt to be a part of this show because you're a track announcer at State Park Speedway and also at Marshfield, and you know the drivers inside and out, and we thought that we would have the perfect place to
to bring you in on this show. So I want to thank you for everything you've done and being a part of this show.
And if you look from the first show how nervous I was, I think we did pretty good. So I want to thank you guys. And like I said, I put a lot of thank yous on Facebook, including Robert and and you and Jana for giving me the opportunity to do this, and all the racers and everyone tuning in. We've had a lot of great feedback, and maybe some other time we'll see you on TV again or at the racetrack.
I think the real key, and it was coordinating schedules, because we were in at different times, so you were doing your own thing on your own, but once we got it where
mine was going to racetracks. Yeah.
Exactly.
I wasn't going out to play softball or doing those things.
No.
I was actually going to another racetrack, and again, thanks to the racetracks for allowing us to come, and we've had a lot of great guests, and it's been fun.
All right, our thanks to you. Curt Keene with Keene Observations. Time for us to take a break. We still have one more night of local racing to feature, the one we were just talking about. That would be the Thursday show in Marshfield. Stick around, and we will have that after the break. Welcome back to Fastlane. I'm Bryon Graff. Earlier in the show, we discussed the Larry Detjens Memorial Weekend. Now a tribute to another short track racing legend. Marshfield Motor Speedway held its Dick Trickle Memorial on Thursday night.
The Derek Van Driel and Steve LaPointe cars started in the front row of the Super Late Models Dick Trickle 71. With 58 laps to go, Colin Reffner gets inside the 15 of LaPointe. Those two battle it out as the 2 moves into the front with 49 laps to go. Then it's Ben Pettis' turn, the defending track champion, grabbing the lead with no turning back. Pettis to victory lane, the winner of the Dick Trickle 71, followed by defending champion Claire Decker and Reffner.
That's something that nobody will ever be able to take away from me, is having a Dick Trickle Memorial race under my belt. And I was fortunate enough to be able to watch Dick race as I was growing up, and then I'd run a couple Detjens races where Dick would be at the Speedway.
The Pure Stocks field was narrowed to just 2 cars, Carl Jeanette and Dan Weinfurter. Weinfurter makes a move to the inside with 3 laps to go, but gets loose, and Jeanette holds off the charge on the way to his 8th overall feature win this year. A much bigger field in the Extreme 4s. Rick Brandel in front early and still setting the pace, moving past lap traffic with 5 laps to go. And he goes on to take the checkered flag. He's followed across the line by Kevin Eckes and Brandon Elmer. Now the Bandits. Dale Robinson leads, then Tim Hintz takes a shot at the lead and moves in front with 14 laps remaining. He sets the pace the rest of the way, going on to pick up the feature win.
Now to the Sprint Cup Series, where we are witnessing history in the making. Kyle Busch won last weekend's Brickyard 400, marking 3 straight victories overall and 4 in the last 5. Of the 19 drivers to have won 3 in a row, 13 are enshrined in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, with 3 others, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Mark Martin, ready to join them. We go to the Brickyard. Jeff Gordon retiring at the end of the season, making his final Brickyard start. Kyle Busch looking to sweep the weekend after winning Saturday's Xfinity Series race. Lap 50, Clint Boyer spins in the short chute. Gordon tries to avoid him, but that causes him to spin out and wreck. Gordon, tough day for him, finishing 42nd, 20 to go. Look at on that front stretch, Trevor Bayne and Eric Almirola not happy with each other. And 13 to go as they head into turn 1. Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets into the grass, spins across the track, back into the wall. He finished 22nd, and the green-white checkered flag. Kyle Busch again, your winner. He's out in front of Joey Logano, and at the finish, he gets to kiss the bricks, sweeping the weekend at the Brickyard.
I didn't want to come back and not be ready to contend for race wins or contend for top 5s, top 10s. So, when I did come back, I knew that that's what we were going to be here to do, but I wasn't sure it was going to come this quick.
Busch is your winner. Joey Logano, runner-up. He started second as well. Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin up there near the front. Matt Kenseth started 23rd. He finishes 7th. Brad Keselowski led 17 laps, finished 10th. Other notables in there, Paul Menard, 14th. Jimmy Johnson, 15th. As I said, Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishing 22nd. Busch goes for 4 in a row this afternoon in the Windows 10 400 at Pocono. Martin Truex Jr. won there back in June. Time for another Fastlane break. When we come back, we will be joined by a regular in the Mid-American Stock Car Series. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Fastlane. I'm Bryon Graff alongside Curt Keene, and it's time for us to introduce our special guest. He is a regular on the Mid-American Stock Car Series. Wausau native Lyle Nowak. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. We're happy to be here.
You bet. You've been racing for more than 3 decades. Most recently won the Mid-American race at State Park Speedway. How special is it for you on that home track to get that victory?
It's real special, Bryon. We target that date on the series, and it's nice to come back home and race in front of your friends and family. And the expectations are always high to run good and to win. Obviously, in this sport, a lot of things can happen, and it doesn't always work out that way. And we had a really good race car that night, and the car was basically flawless all night. And to get that win at home, it's always rewarding to do that.
I could tell you were enjoying yourself. Sometimes you see drivers come out of the pits and they walk around through the stands as they get ready, and you have the feature later on. You're walking through, you're waving, you're chatting with people.
Yeah.
It looked like you were soaking in and really having a good time.
I mean, we grew up racing at State Park, and that was our home. And I'm proud to say that I'm from Wausau and from State Park when we go racing other places. And to come back home and see everybody, it's kind of special, because when you go racing out of town, there's not always that many familiar faces, and to come back home and you basically almost got everybody cheering you on, it gives you extra motivation and incentive to do good.
And Lyle, you have won 16 track championships at there at State Park, Tomahawk Speedway. You won the Mid-American Series. I remember as a kid, I was a kid that on stock car night, I got to ride first ever in your race car, and I've been a fan from day one. And just every time you win, you know, the excitement level, you love it. I mean, and not just if you don't win, but you're always friendly after the races, and you're just kind of like a role model to the racers in Wausau. Like you said, Wausau, you're proud to be from Wausau. And when you go to other tracks, we're proud to say, hey, there's Lyle Nowak from Wausau.
I had a pretty good teacher in Larry Detjens, and Larry was a class act on the racetrack, and he was even a better person off the racetrack. And it's easy to celebrate victories and to be a winner, but to be able to conduct yourself with a little dignity and be gracious in losing, because there's more times you're going to lose in this sport than you're going to win. Yep. And we've just been blessed over the years to have some success and to experience that, and to be able to race and have that privilege to do, because not everybody can do that. Every time I get in the car, I feel like a little kid again. So I mean, we just enjoy racing, and we enjoy the people that we've been able to meet over the years. To be able to race in some competitive series like the Mid-America Series and the Big 8 Series, where there are just class act drivers that can go anywhere and win, and to be competitive is what we are most proud of.
I'm glad you brought up Larry, and to have that Memorial Weekend. What does it mean to see the tradition there? We had some of the interviews. I mean, we could have talked for 2 straight days with people about Larry and the memories, and not only of the generation of drivers who knew him personally or friends of his, but now into the next generation who's out there driving.
Yeah, when I grew up in racing, Larry was the racer from Wausau. And growing up in the sport at the time that we did, we would race on a Thursday night with Dick Trickle and Larry Detjens and Mar Marzukka, Jim Bach, Tom Reffner. I mean, they were the best teachers that I could ever have in the sport. But when I was growing up in racing, if you needed to go to talk to anybody or get some help, you went to see Larry, and I did that. And Marcy and I got to be really good friends with Larry and Kathy, and it was a special time in our lives, and you didn't realize how special it was, because he was the first person from this area that could go into any part of the country and be competitive and win. And you don't have that very often, or you don't see that. And then to see the type of person that he was, and the way he taught myself and other people in the sport how to race and to do it, there ain't too many that come around like him.
And you said, you know, with the Mid-American Stock Car Series, the people that you race with, kind of the same attitude, that the kind of your racing style with the Larry Detjens, just a great group of people that you surround yourself with. You know, like you said, guys helping each other out. Yeah. I mean, you got a guy that Kyle Shearer, he lets you run his big 8 car that you ran at Wassa. Yeah. And you said to me on Tuesday at practice, you've never won in a late model car at Detjens Memorial, and you really wanted to win that one on Friday night.
We have had a lot of success, but I've never been able to win on a Detjens night. I'm sort of like where Dale Earnhardt couldn't win the Daytona 500. But to be able to run the Big 8 Series and to run it with Troy Shearer's car. His son Kyle actually pits for Johnny Sauter and works for Johnny Sauter in Sandusky, Ohio, and that's part of the reason why it's hard for him to get back. That gave me the opportunity. Mr. Shearer is a dear friend of mine who builds race cars, sets cars up, has his own cars. He's been my confidant, and I've talked to him probably twice a week on setups, and he's helped me a lot. So to be able to do that and to compete with him at Wassa that night was special all in itself, with the history that the Shears have.
Yeah. Maybe this would be the answer, but my question I want to pose to you is, and you've had a lot of wins on your resume, is there something out there that you would love to add? What would be the one win you'd love to have?
When the Mid-America Series, for a number of years, we went to the Milwaukee Mile, and growing up in racing, I would go and watch the Badgerland 150 and the Miller 200 that the State Fair put on for the ASA Series, and I would watch Larry and Dick and Mike Eddy and Joe Shear and all those characters race there, and I just dreamed of one day maybe being able to race there, and we were able to do that for a number of years, and what was unique about it is I'm a little farmer from Wassa who grew up on quarter-mile tracks, and we just loved that big place. And we wound up running second to Bobby Gutnick one year, and we lost out just by a whisker at the end of the race. But to try to go back to Milwaukee and get a win, I would really relish the opportunity to try again.
That would be up there. Well, we're going to get into what we call our checkered finish, so we're going to get to know you a little bit better beyond the track, and Curt gets to start out with this.
Lyle, what was your first street car, not race car? Everyone always wants to say, you know, there's race car. What's your first street car?
I owned a 1970 Dodge Super Bee.
Wow. All right, I like that. What would be your dream car?
I think the new Chevy Camaros that are out on the street today, they seem to be quite sporty.
What was your first job that you ever had?
That would be farming with my dad, because I grew up in the dairy business.
Okay. And who's your favorite NASCAR driver?
I got a special guy. He's had a little trouble with his family and stuff, but Martin Truex.
Okay.
His girlfriend is battling cancer, and he's had some hard times in the years racing, and he's having a heck of a year this year, so I wish him all the best.
And maybe you can do it again at Pocono.
And what one racetrack would you want to race at in any level?
Marcy and I went on vacation one year to Alabama, and we visited Talladega, and we got a tour around that joint, and to run even in the Xfinity Series or the Cub Series, and to pull the train there would be awesome.
I don't think anyone's ever said that one,
I don't think that is a first. And what's your favorite thing to do away from the track?
We have German Shepherd dogs that we spend a lot of time with, and we love Civil War history, and we travel to Civil War sites.
Okay. So. And that does it for our checkered finish. Who are the sponsors you'd like to thank?
I would like to thank the Sprecher Brewing Company for their involvement in our program, Hilltop Auto Wrecking, Jim Nick Insurance. We have Auto Trim that has decaled and wrapped our race car for us this year. And I would like to thank Performance Trailers for all the help that they give us with our Stealth new trailer.
Lyle Nowak, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and good luck to you guys.
You bet. And we mentioned your sponsors. We're going to mention we have a couple as well. We have a shirt for you. Flipside Graphics doing the work on that, and Country Fresh Meats, $25 gift card for you as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks
you
very
so much for joining us. We'll be back after this.
Okay.
That's a wrap on Fastlane for this season. Our thanks go out to everybody who helped put this show together and all of you who made it a point to watch. Jana Wimmer, Scott Wimmer, Curt Keene, our driver guest Lyle Nowak. Our thanks to all of them for all their contributions. And as always, a huge thank you to our sponsors, Car Parts, Flipside Graphics, Country Fresh Meats, and Brickner's of Wausau. We look forward to continuing this show sometime in the future. And in the meantime, we will see you at the track.